There we go. We're on video. We're on the air with radio. It's been a hell of a morning. We're getting back the news as far as the playlist, and that's what you were listening to right before I came on at the top of the hour. But 30 minutes ago, I was getting all ready and going to start on time, like I try to do every day. And I'm hearing this sound. It was not a good sound. It was the sound of my puppy vomiting. For whatever reason, I have no idea. But that had to be cleaned up immediately before they get the idea to do it themselves. So I think everything's going now. We've got the clocks working. We're on the air. I've got video. About to share a screen so we can go through, see what time it is where you're at. 11:03 here in Tampa. 8:03 out there on the left coast, especially in Las Vegas at K-Shop, KSHP. 4:03 p.m. in London. 17:03 in Berlin and Gaza. 18:03 Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Kyiv, and Moscow. 11:03 p.m. Perth, Australia. 3 minutes after midnight in Tokyo. And 1:03 a.m. in Melbourne, Sydney, and Canberra. Hey, everybody. Hey, CZ. Everybody else, welcome. We're going up the middle. Okay, I think I'm ready here. Let's do this. Today, anger. I should, if I was able to plan this out a little bit more ahead of time, I would have had David Beckmeyer return. For those of you new to the program, DNR Studios folks, maybe some people in Australia, maybe some in Pineland, Florida, perhaps some in Vegas. David Beckmeyer is out of the Bay Area, not this one, but the one in the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. He has a program here on Yerg's Radio called This Week in Outrage. You would have heard that yesterday evening, evening. Let me see. It was 7:30. 7:30 is when he comes on the air, Eastern. That would have been around 4 p.m. in Las Vegas time. Around 12 midnight in London. 1 in the morning in Berlin and Gaza. 2 in the morning in Tel Aviv, Kyiv, Moscow. 7 a.m. in Perth on Monday. And 8 a.m. in Tokyo. 9 a.m. in Melbourne, Sydney, and Canberra. Also scattered throughout the Yerg's radio schedule is his podcast called Outrage Overload. If you hear anything that is a necessary, worthwhile study on the social sciences, it is Outrage Overload. Now in his 3rd or 4th season, he also has 2 seasons of Outrage Overload Science Bites. 10, 15-minute long episodes that he does for a month straight. For a month straight, he does one every day. That's in November for Napad Pomo. I don't know what that stands for. It's something podcast month. And the challenge is to do 1 episode a day for 30 days. Weekends, holidays, doesn't matter. 1 episode per day for 30 days. And I'm like, well, we kind of got that here, actually. It's what we do every day. We don't do weekends, but it wouldn't be hard to get up and do it on a weekend too. Oy. So that you'll actually hear during Mastiff Media magazine. We use his episodes as a filler towards the end of the hour. Today, there wasn't anything in the Australia news, so we have an extra couple of minutes of NPR. I don't know. I'll check that throughout the day to see if something else comes on. And we edit it throughout the day, actually, because NPR, National Public Radio here in the States, puts out about a 5-minute update every hour. So today, right now, you're hearing the 7 and 8 a.m. edition, Eastern. They're based out of D.C. Then was Daily Crypto News. If you recognize that voice, that's Matt Deemer from Friday Fights, which is some of the anger we're going to be talking about today. Hey, Colton. Why do these people join and then leave? I don't get that. Just listen for a minute. So that's Matt. That's his podcast. And we're back to using that daily the way we should have been on what now is Mastiff Media magazine. And that might change too. I don't know. I kind of like it, but I don't know that it really. Let me know. Does it sound like a new show? Like a magazine new show, I guess? So we'll see. And then what else was in there? The Randy Report. I can't pronounce his last name. Randy. Let me see if I can pull up a tab and search it quick. I just type in Randy. The first Randy that comes up is Randy Orton. That is my next ex-husband. He's very straight. I know that. So, but a girl can dream, right? So there's a picture of him. I just doesn't say his full name. Hold on. Randy. Was that the guy whose song he played? Wow. I edited out a song because I didn't know if that would be something we would be able to include. But the guy that sings it, Caleb Scott, he's hot. Or if he's a DJ or whatever he is. Where are you at, Randy? Prosecutors seek 7-year prison sentence for George Santos. Oh, shame not. Randy Slovacek. There it is. I'll get it. Week number 2 for Randy being a part of Mastiff Media magazine. We appreciate him licensing his work to us. And yeah. All right. So we're talking about anger today. And the 3 things we're going to talk about in conjunction with that, 2 are big things in the news. I think was there 3 or 2? I guess the other thing was Outrage Overload, which I would have liked to have on today, but it was kind of a last minute thing. And David's been on before, and I'll put a link to him in the notes, the show notes for today. Definitely a must listen. If you're in politics, if you have conflicting personalities at work, in the office, at home, there's a lot that he does that, and he's not a social scientist, by the way. He's retired from the tech industry. I'm trying to also do better with mic technique. I'm doing so many different things, but oh, my poor dogs. I'm doing so many different things, but and I'm turning my head as a result. And I notice after the fact that the volume really dies, and I don't really notice it in my headphones as much. So I'm trying to behave that way. Now we're on Discord as well. All right. David's outrage overload is a study more than a podcast. It really is. And the podcast is great. Don't get me wrong. He does very well. He's very meticulous with his editing. It's audio only. So it's something really good for in the car, or as you'll find out, on your boat. And it's a study on why, like in media, in the news, most of the news we talk about is not that exciting. I don't want it to be. I want it to be factual. I want it to be educational. I want it to be something that's going to help you with not only your day, but your life. Like, hopefully, today's episode will. Good morning, Ken. Superfan Ken Williams checking in. I gave you a name over the weekend. I don't even remember. I'm trying to do so many of them. The one station that asked me for references, I don't even remember which one it was. There's an Irish station that shot us down in like 5 minutes. I write this long-ass email telling them why it would be good to have my show on their station and blah, blah, blah. 5 minutes later, I get a reply, not interested. That's it. Not interested. And I sort of replied back, thank you, and was all nice about it. But now I'm looking for other Irish stations just to drive them into the ground. And the thing about it is they have more dead air. And they're actually begging for on-air talent on their homepage. And I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm not what you're into. Yeah, hands off Randy Orton. Yeah, I know. But you know what? I'll tell you a story about him. I watched wrestling, since I was a kid. My one uncle, rest in peace, was a huge wrestling fan. So at family picnics and family gatherings, we would wrestle. I mean, nothing like serious, but we give each other headbutts and not really give each other headbutts, things like that. Well, as I grew older, got into other things, I got out of it. I wasn't following it as much. Fast forward to me living on my own, having my own computer, and needing to decorate my new condo. I would sit by the computer going through JPEG images on the internet, creating files of hot guys that were hot guys. Some of them were clothed. Some of them were not. Some of them were just them. Some were more than just the one person. There were people. And in some cases, let's say active. But I found this guy who, really good looking guy, just baby face, great body. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to include him. And I'm psyched with this guy. I'm fanatical about this guy. He was that hot. And so I take up a photo to a friend of mine on a task, a coworker really, from the FBI. We were on a task force together. At that time, the FBI was able to search the internet for images the way we can do a Google image search today. Well, he was not permitted to do that for personal benefit. And I knew that, and he told me that. I was kind of doing it just to, not to see if he shouldn't do it, but create conversation. And he says, well, let's look at it. His wrists were taped, and he was in the wrestling trunks that he's been in his entire career. So as such, the agent suggested that he's probably a professional wrestler. Why don't you start with, I don't know if it was WWF still or WWE. I don't remember when that rebranded, but why don't you start there? So I do. And sure enough, I find him and I see the name Randy Orton. Now remember, go back to me. How should I say? Having I don't even know how to say it. Having had a childhood of growing up following wrestling. So I see the name Randy Orton. And I go, oh, wow, that's Cowboy Bob's kid. Growing up, there was a wrestler named Cowboy Bob Orton. And just doing the math generationally, I'm presuming this is his son. And it turns out it is. But when I said that, oh, that's Cowboy Bob's kid, I start laughing to myself like Cowboy Bob and I are buddies. Oh, that's Bobby's kid. No, he has no. Neither of them have no idea who I am. But that's what got me back into following wrestling. Fast forward through my Secret Service career, I'm now in DC. And are we frozen on Instagram? It looks like the video is frozen over on Instagram. But the chat went in. Anyway, I'm now an agent in DC. And I have a Rottweiler at the time. Yeah, I think the video, and I'm going to end it just because I don't want people. Seeing nothing because of an alert. Now at least I'll know it's over. I got a Rottweiler, and I'm on Hillary Clinton's detail, and I'm about to go on a trip for the weekend, probably with her to New York or maybe on the campaign trail. We're talking about 2007, 2008 area. And my buddy Jared is going to dog sit. Now, he's not home. I've broken into his apartment building with a Rottweiler that's too big for the dog policy in the apartment building. And he left his apartment open. I'm now going to just enter this guy's apartment to everybody else, not knowing that I have his permission. So just to be safe, I knock, then open the door, call for Jared, and I get no answer, as I shouldn't. I know he's at the gym working. He was a trainer. And I see this figure across the room. So I call out to him again. Jared, it's me, Ross. Nothing. And I'm telling you, I see a human being across the room. So I'm headed right from there to Hillary Clinton's house. I'm ready for work. I draw down on this guy. Show me your hands. Federal agent. I get my light out as well, and I light him up. And all I see is a hand first with open palm, all fingers extended, just to the side of his face. And it's a cardboard cutout of John Cena, my buddy Jared's next ex-husband. So that's my wrestling stories. Fortunately, my own self-control and anger management won the day at Jared's place. Unlike some of the stories we're going to talk about today. Now, some of you know on Friday Fights lived up to its name. We certainly had one. And wasn't necessarily on the topics, but should we be discussing the topics? We had some new listeners, and they're always welcome, new or previously, I don't want to say old, but experienced to the show. We had some new listeners, and I made a comment about racism and such in the Republican Party. And in this case, it was with regarding essentially brown people and the deportations that are happening. And a listener questioned, like, that's the only thing? What about the salute? Meaning, or maybe even said the Roman salute. And I didn't want this new listener proceeding in the day and in his time here in the Mastiff Media Doghouse to think that I was approving of that salute, especially given my German heritage. So I decided to address it then and there. And Blake said he didn't want to talk about this anymore, that he was tired of talking about this. I'm like, well, you don't need to. We're not going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it for a very short period of time. If he would have shut the hell up, I would now be over talking about my disapproval of the Roman salute. He sits there, all huffing and puffing, telling me how we've beat this like a dead horse. Or I forget the actual verbiage, and I'm paraphrasing to be clear. But he kept pushing back. He kept talking over me. He kept telling me how I was wrong. We don't need to talk about this. And he wouldn't let me say that we have a new listener. We are not here for each other. At least we're not supposed to be. I'm not here for myself. I've told you before, the moment that I find a political show that attacks every issue from both the left and the right and is geared for listeners from both the left and the right, I'm out. I'm done. I've got a station to monetize. I've got 3 more on the way. That's another announcement you'll hear today. I've got 3 more on the way. And I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. Because the other networks are clearly not doing it, or podcasting and streaming and what have you would not be so popular. If Fox and CNN were doing it right, I wouldn't be here. I'm doing this for the listeners, for the viewers, whether you're an audio only or video. I'm doing this for you. And I was re-explaining something that we did already talk about ad nauseum to someone who's new and to someone that I didn't want to get lost along the way. So on and on and on, just like I am right now, goes Blake. So finally, I mute him. I've done that before. Usually in comical response to us all just arguing and nobody lets me talk kind of thing. But as most of you know, that was an actual issue that I've had with Blake for the past year. And I've had 3 consultants tell me that he is not hogging the mic because he's inexperienced. He's hogging the mic because of his ego. And I stuck up for him. Every time I stuck up for him. I said, no, we're all learning. We're all hobbyists. We all want to monetize. We all have a lot of energy, blah, blah, blah. No, ego. Well, Friday, I got to be honest, they confirmed it. He confirmed what they said. When I said, whether he heard it or not, that's the point. He should not have been talking in the first place. And I think he knows that now. I hope he watches this at some point. I hope he learns by it. Because with the announcement that I'm going to make today that he's now not going to be a part of, he could be much closer to some level of monetization. And it would have supported his own podcast like I do every day, or at least for him used to. Unlike his support of us here at Mastiff Media and lack thereof. So I muted him. Matt starts cracking up laughing. And I just continue to say that I'm going to tell this guy our position on the Roman salute, the Nazi salute. It's the same thing. I'm going to take a sip here, gang. It's the same thing. And yes, that is what Elon Musk did. It is. Did he intend to do that? I don't know what he intended to do. I'm telling you what he did. You pick up a gun and shoot it. Did you intend to shoot it? Or what is often called an accidental discharge, or really, for those of us that are professional gun carriers, it's called a negligent discharge. Did you mean to shoot it? I don't know. Got to ask the person. But you shot it. Elon Musk on the stage in D.C. at the, I don't know what it's called now. It used to be the Verizon Center. It's where the Capitals play, where the Wizards play, where the, I forget, the women's NBA basketball team plays. Used to be called the Verizon Center. It's in downtown, 7th and G, 7th and H, that area. It was inside at the indoor rally that they had because putting everybody outside was supposed to be cold, although I think it's because there was nobody there. I digress. That was a Roman salute. Tim Waltz did the same thing. He did. Did they mean it that way? Maybe neither one of them did, despite Elon Musk's ties and activities immediately after being on the stage in D.C. He gets on a plane, flies to Germany, and speaks with the far-right political party members there, known by the rest of the world as the modern-day German Nazi Party. Now tell me how that was not a Roman salute. So I'm explaining our position to this, essentially directly to this new listener and anybody else. Anybody's welcome. And suddenly, Blake's screen is split. And his "I know better than you" look is on his face, as the other half of his screen is playing in repetition Tim Waltz doing the same type of salute. And I said, yes, that is wrong also. I don't care what your intention is. It is what everyone sees. The Supreme Court ruled on that, actually. Me, as a criminal investigator, or I should say, I, as a criminal investigator, have you seated at a table in an interview room. Your back is against a wall. The table is situated between you and the only door to the room. But then in that door of the room stands me. I may not be this build right now, but during my career in law enforcement, 6'1", 230, 235 pounds, about 10% body fat. And let's leave it at I still know how to handle myself. Do you think, sitting in that chair, that regardless of how many times I tell you you can leave at any time, that you have the freedom to leave with a table in front of you and me? If you got up and started walking out, you'd have to go around the table and then around me. You would probably not, and any reasonable person would probably be of the feeling they were not permitted to leave, regardless of the number of times that I tell you that you are. The Supreme Court has ruled that it is your feelings, not my statements, that rule the day. Well, it's the same thing when Elon Musk or Tim Waltz do the Roman salute. I don't care if you're in the process of actually saying my heart goes out to you and you're taking it from your heart and throwing it. Then take it from your heart, which is over, symbolically, it is over your chest, not your left shoulder, and throw it out to that audience, not up in the air like the bad guys do. So I add that, yes, Tim Waltz is wrong too. It's all wrong. Well, that made him a little upset. And not only was he no longer muted, but he was no longer on the show. He left. I look up and suddenly it's just the two of us. And that's it, Matt and me. So I'm like, well, I guess he just left. And I kind of knew something like that was going to happen. And this is where I take responsibility. When we had to blow up a little over a month ago, right at the end of the show that was actually on the air also. And he didn't want to have the conversation on the air. I'm like, Blake, this is the only time I get to talk to you. When we started this a year ago, we were supposed to use the chat that we still talk in today, or at least Matt and I do, that we still talk in today, for during the course of the week to discuss things that we're going to talk about on Friday. Not maybe late Thursday night or even Friday morning, like last week actually was. And when we had that blow up, I wanted to talk to him, but I never did. And he came back, and I felt things were fine. He was contributing. He was still a little aggressive towards his possession of the microphone, but he wasn't standoffish. in any way. Really, to his credit, it was like nothing ever happened. And then Friday happened. Second one in as many months. And so he writes me. I was going to share, I don't know. What do you think? You want to see the emails? He sent one around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He sent another one around 6 p.m. Friday night, saying that the one at 1 o'clock apparently got some kickback that he thinks he didn't get it. Or he thinks that I didn't get it, that it didn't send. So he sent another kind of longer winded, it's fine. He says the same thing in each one. He regrets leaving in the way that he did, but that he felt that it was necessary. I did do, I think it was a YouTube short and a Facebook reel, maybe a TikTok video, maybe all three. I don't remember where I put it. When I do stuff like that, when I do stuff like that, I film it, in that case on my camera, and then I upload it to wherever. I don't, because if I do it directly to YouTube as a YouTube short that way, then I try to use that video on TikTok. TikTok sees that I'm repurposing a YouTube video and they ding you for it. Not like you're going to be penalized, but that video will not score as well in the algorithm, and it won't be exposed to as many people. I don't think my phone is on vibrate here. Give me a second. So I make the video myself, and then do it manually to the various platforms. And I said, I think it's time too. Not because we've had one blow up or the other. That's what the show's for. And there's times, I'll still say this. I think he's knowledgeable. I think he's a good man. And that if anybody else wants to fight him, they'll have to go through me. But we are trying to monetize here, all of us, not just him. And as such, we need to put out a quality product. It's not his show. And I said this from the beginning. It's not my show. It's our show. And that's why I wanted their input and involvement. And they had a say. Matt still does. Philip, for Wednesdays, still does. He's welcome on Fridays. And Jane will be with us in 20 minutes. So I'm going to miss him, certainly. We're going to be fine without him. I put feelers out. People are putting feelers out for me. And to be clear about that, if you are interested, or if you know somebody who might be, Blake is a Republican and filled the conservative side of the Friday show. You don't have to do that. If you're more progressive, if you're more independent like me, we've got plenty of other room for you throughout the week. Sitting here by myself or talking just me for 40 minutes gets old, especially for you. And like I said, I'm here for you. I'm very willing to make this a better product. And I'm absolutely excited to have your help doing it. All right, enough about that. When we come back, we're going to talk about boat rage, some more anger. And I thought there was something else, but I guess not, which I'm fine with because I should be able to take that boat rage into the 12 o'clock hour, into the next hour. when Jane Stahl, and we'll probably talk about a lot of this again because I'm going to want to see what she has to say. And of course, what any of you put into the comments or call. I'm seeing some sort of issue on my phone modem. I don't know what that is. I have a bill to pay, and I'm wondering if it's got cut off. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to test the phones. I'm going to make sure that we're on in various markets. Until then, this is the Mastiff Media Network. You're listening or watching Up the Middle. We'll be back after these words. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training. A dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum. All right. Well, the phones work. I don't know what the hell else I was going to try to do in that 1 minute, but the phones work fine. Oh, I wanted to see how everything else was going. But first, tell you about Rumble. Why? Well, because that's one of the networks I hope I'm still on. Part of what we do is reach out to both sides of the political spectrum. I can't do that by being just on one platform that supports one particular type of view. As much as they say they don't, they do. Or they're bullied by somebody else. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an episode that was 2 weeks ago today. We got yanked down by one of our social media affiliates. Whatever. They were the only ones to take it down, by the way. Facebook said nothing about it. Rumble is about free speech, apparently, because it was not complimentary to the right side, particularly MAGA. You know the episode I'm talking about. By the way, I've still not heard back from YouTube, and I've not been told what it was in that video that got the strike. Whatever. That's why you might want to check out Rumble. Despite your political leanings, go to rumble.com. I don't have my list of affiliates up, which is where the rest of that address is. There we go. Rumble.com/register/Yergs Media. Even if you just want content with the special features that Rumble offers, or if you're a content creator, check them out today. Use that link, send me some love. Rumble.com/register/Yergs Media. I should leave that up too. Some sort of show notes for today. Not as big on this particular. Wasn't as big on that chill track that the system played. But whatever. Shout out to everybody watching on Up the Middle Radio Show on Facebook. My professional page on Facebook. Where else? Yergs Media on D Live. I like that one. We're building a little following there. And on Twitch, It should also be going through Twitch. That feed should be going to my website. Oh. Sportcat's having a family emergency, so I'm going to be covering for him. I think what we'll do is we'll play the Massive Media Magazine in its place during his 2 hours. There's plenty of news that I will add to that. I will make a nice long playlist during the course of it. So, and I'll rotate out with newer stories from NPR, see what I can get from Australia. The podcast platform that I use didn't have anything today, and their day's over. I mean, it's almost midnight tomorrow in Perth. It's already Tuesday on the Eastern Coast. So, yeah, there was an Aussie. One of the tracks that Matt used on Daily Crypto News had this guy with a pretty sexy sounding Aussie voice. So I see somebody's backstage. We got a lot to talk about from her, and we'll talk about this fishing thing. Maybe she knows about it. Millions of views on this video. So maybe Jane's aware of this already. I know she's not huge into Facebook, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's get out. Oh, that's not good. There we go.
There we go.
Hello there. So how's the new computer?
Hey. Well, actually, I'm on my old one. And the reason is my new one doesn't have any USB ports. And so to plug in my microphone and these headphones, I could not do that on my new computer until I get an adapter of some kind. But I wrote my guy and said, there is an adapter, right? And he said, yes. So I have to go shopping and find an adapter.
What kind of ports do you have?
I don't know. They're skinny little things. They're skinny little things. And I have a lightning something that I have used in the past to connect with my phone, and it looked like they were the same size. And I thought, well, maybe this lightning thing will do it, but it wouldn't. No, it said no, not doing it. So I have to shop. Fortunately, my old computer works good enough. I mean, the touchpad is they worked it enough so that I can play with it just a little bit. So anyway, but I love my new computer and what do you got? Yes.
Look at the. Is that it? Oh, that's not.
It looks like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's USB-C.
Yeah, it looks like that.
What is it? USB-C. It's like a long, skinny oval.
Yeah, long, skinny. Oh no, I don't know.
That's all right.
I'll have to research a little bit, figure it out. But anyway, I love my new computer. I was a little afraid that it would take me a while to get used to the keyboard, because I was pretty swift at copy paste and, all that kind of stuff and drag and drop. And
you do,
I'm good.
Do you use traditional classic typing method, or are you more of a rapid hunt and peck?
Oh, no, I'm classic.
Yeah, typing, yeah.
In fact, I don't know if you noticed this. Maybe you were one of the people who did, but I mean, I'm looking at my old computer keyboard and the letters are worn off. A and E and R and T and the space bar. So you can't see the letters on those anymore. They're totally worn out.
I have what looks like an oily spot on my space bar from my thumb keeps hitting, and oil from my skin rubs off or something.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's been fun. I had an easy transition to my new computer, and I'm delighted about that because I thought it might hold me up a little bit. And my guy, Doug Geiger from DoubleClick in Reading, for anybody who might be listening, DoubleClick Click Computers in West Reading. He is absolutely amazing and had me set up in, in a couple of days. There was a weekend in there, so I don't count those necessarily, but he had me up and running, and he knows what I need, and he knows how I like things, and I was good to go as soon as I opened the box. So that was
Are
good.
they
It
are
was
they
good.
both Macs or what?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
yes.
I
I went from a
say touchpad.
MacBook Pro, I think, to a MacBook Air. I think that's the difference.
That is the difference.
But again,
Yep.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, it's a bit of an adjustment. And when I went to plug in my microphone today, I thought, oh boy, I would have had to use the internal microphone and all that we did when we first started, before you gave me my headphones and before I plugged in my microphone. But I do like this better
I'm shocked
because
to
I can really
hear.
hear well.
I'm shocked to hear that the MacBook Air does not have a headphone jack.
No, no headphone jack. No, no, not at all. But my MacBook Pro has a headphone jack. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. My old
right,
one.
right.
My old one. Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's
So,
because that all the Mac things survive off of Bluetooth, and if you had Bluetooth
I,
earbuds,
yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. And I don't own those yet. I bought a pair and gave them to Jeff.
so we were talking about today's title of the episode is anger in all lowercase letters, comma, anger with a capital A, comma, anger in all capitals.
Okay.
Yeah, you saw the
Right.
progression. You knew where it was
Yeah.
going. And of course, we can't set off
I
with
know.
an
I
exclamation
know you
point
love it.
at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we lost
Yeah. It's pretty dire.
we
Mm.
lost one last week. I don't know if you're aware of this yet. If you've seen any of my social media over the weekend, or were hearing the first hour of today's show. And speaking of which, we are going to lose some people. WZQR, no, 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 no. There it is. KSHP in Las Vegas. Those of you listening on 1400 AM or 1071 FM, KSHP, K Shop in Las Vegas, jump over to radiox.com.au, yergsradio.com, rainbowradio.gay, or sign up
Whoa.
for the DNR cast and dnrstudios.com, or I missed one, wzqr.fm, and scroll down to WZQR Talks. Any of those places you can follow along. Or now, starting week number 2, yergs.com. When we're live, you can watch the video. The Twitch goes to
Whoa.
yergs.com.
Very
Yeah,
good.
I'm excited about that. After our episode from 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about,
Yes.
in our opinion, because I suppose that perhaps we did not say that enough, that episode was taken down by YouTube.
What?
Yeah, off of both Up the Middle and Talk TV 24.
Oh.
It was taken down by YouTube
Oh.
for being misleading. I don't know what the hell we were misleading on about that, but
Oh my.
we were
Well, Amy
saying,
will be delighted to know that there was an issue, because she said, I thought he was putting these things on YouTube and I can't find it.
I,
I
I
will now
thought I
tell her
told
why.
her Friday of
Uh, well, maybe you did.
that
Yeah.
week
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
is when I got the notice from. I woke up to the notice on Friday that it was taken down from Up the Middle, and then Saturday came another one saying that it was taken down from Talk TV 24. Or I think I got that backwards. Regardless, it wasn't both at the same time. It was really,
Okay.
and yeah. So I think that I've alluded to more aggressive political opinions than just calling the people in the MAGA crowd the real rhinos, that they're the real rhinos and Republicans in name only. But
Oh,
and so
okay.
a lot of people that I've been talking to suspect that this is as a result of the current regime administration. Travis Evans saying, "Good morning, everybody." He has a show tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, on his Facebook. I don't know if he's on
Yeah.
YouTube also or not, but I know it's on Facebook. That's a good 2 hour show. Um, but yeah, so Friday, order, thanks, man. Agreed. Couldn't agree more. Copy and yours is the way to start the day.
I love this. We have more
Yeah, we got
more
well,
notes.
we have some new people that are enjoying, and
Yes.
that was the downfall of our relationship with one of our co-hosts last week. If you employed somebody on either a paid or volunteer status,
Okay.
and you've coached them in ways that they can improve and essentially make a better product, whether they're helping at, say, at the museum, yeah, at the art studio,
Okay.
or with the Bear Project, Bear Fever, or say you have a high school student that's a junior editor on Expression.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
If after a year they were not at all improving in the things you've coached them on, what steps
Mhm.
do you take?
Well, I think I think fewer opportunities to create content would probably be it. And you see that in the workforce all the time. Businesses will cut people's hours until they really can't afford to continue to work there. They have to go find somewhere else.
Yeah,
And so that's the least, what do you say, the least aggressive
yeah.
or the least confrontational way to do it. So
So 2 weeks ago,
that would be my that would be my
yeah,
response based on my
yeah.
experiences. Yep.
A month ago, a little over a month ago, Blake and I had a pretty popular blow up on the air right at the end of a show. We were in the process of ending, and I don't remember exactly the particulars, but essentially, my beef was he keeps hogging the microphone. And it's not just my opinion,
Oh.
but I've had 3 professional consultants, like they work in newsrooms and now they consult people about how to be in a newsroom or on a radio show or something like
Mhm.
that. People that know what they're talking about
Right.
said he's not hogging the microphone because of inexperience. Because I stuck up for him. I said, we're all new, we're all hobbyists. None of us have any like formal college training or anything like that. They said no. The reason he's doing that is ego.
Ugh.
And you mentioned, we have some new faces in the chat. Friday, we had a new guy. And I made some comment while we were discussing deportations. I made some reference to the Republican Party, particularly MAGA, being racist. And I said,
Ooh.
after all, you don't see anybody being deported back to Canada. And this guy in the chat says, that's your qualifications for being racist. Like, I need more. There's so many more examples. And there were. And he throws up the idea of the Roman salute, the Nazi salute.
Oh. Mhm.
And we were about to take a break, I think. I don't remember. But we were about to change into something, and I said, no, I got to address this now. I don't want this guy thinking that I'm okay with the Nazi salute.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that. And Blake says that he's sick and tired of talking about the Nazi salute, that we've talked about it enough. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but this guy doesn't know that. Neither of us are for the Nazi salute on any level because of the implications and how it's going to be interpreted. But this guy thinks we're okay with it. I got to address that. We're not here for me. We're here for him and for everybody listening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to argue that, like, we didn't have to do that. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we don't, but it's my show and we're doing it.
How about that?
And he was just digging his heels in deeper. And if he would have just said, yeah, I think that's a good idea, and roll his eyes, we would have been done.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I eventually muted him so I could get a word in edgewise.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And that's not the first time.
That's dramatic.
Sometimes, you know, if you and I are discussing something, we're in some sort of argument, and I'm losing, I might mute you then because that would be funny. It's all I got left, you know, and that would cause everybody to laugh because I know it's obvious I'm getting my ass kicked. But in that moment, it was kind of obvious that we should be bringing this guy on board and let him know, no, we're not okay with the Roman salute on any level.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm finally explaining that now that my headphones aren't making my head rattle. And all of a sudden I look up and his screen is split. And it's him on the one side and a video of Tim Waltz doing the same thing on the other. Like, I'm only against it when a Republican does it. And I said, I know I'm not okay with him doing it either, because everybody is going to see that little clip right there. Or exactly when Elon Musk did it, they showed all kinds of photos of AOC, Tim Waltz, Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
in
Right.
those instances, they probably were not doing that. They were probably waving to somebody in the back with a locked elbow. And it's still, you know, it's going to look like that. That's what they're going to use. So now when I become really famous, I'm going to have to remember to use the Queen way.
Yes, the Queen.
So everybody calls me just that, a queen.
Oh, no. Now that's so funny.
So I look up again.
So what happened to your buddy?
Again.
Is he still with you?
I look up again.
What are you doing?
And he's gone. His screen is not there. It's just Matt and me.
Okay.
And Matt sees the thing too, and he goes, dude, he just left.
Wow.
So Matt tries to reach out to him through our group chat on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, Jurgs, he left the group chat too already.
Wow.
Yeah. And so.
And any word since?
Yeah, about 1:00 in the afternoon, I get an email from him. I could share it. I mean, I don't think there's anything personal on it. And that's what we do here. Everything's fair game.
A little bit. While you're searching, I just want to say good morning back to Ken.
Yep, there's Ken Williams. There's somebody else waiting here. What else we got? There we go. I like that. Joseph says, the death of the ego is the beginning of wisdom. Wow, that's pretty good.
Sounds about right to me.
So here's, let me see if I can Um, what I'm going to try to do is
Share the
share
email.
the email, but yeah, um, there we go. Let's see something here. I want to cover his email address, even though I think it's the one we used to give out anyway. Um, let's see. Yeah, there we go. And
Oh, I got it from the first 5 words.
Joe
Okay.
just says,
6
"Yes,
words.
Queen." um,
During the show, he said, a
so
good, like, man.
this was the first one. I think yes, this was the first one that
Huh.
he sent me another one later in the evening because he thinks this one bounced back, and in all actuality, it came through. Um, he says this obviously isn't a good fit anymore. I've really enjoyed doing the show with you and Matt. Seriously, it's been really good practice for me being able to discuss things in a live environment and debate issues, and I'm glad you invited me to be a part of it. But as you mentioned during your last blowout, your audience doesn't like me anyway. I don't know that the audience
Hmm.
doesn't like him. They're just noticing that he hogged the microphone. And
Oh,
maybe if he's not liked, it's good to have a villain. I don't know, but it's I don't think that anybody disliked him. I just think that they noticed he talked a lot. So if I'm
okay.
bad for your audience and you're going to mute and insult me, I'm muting you because you wouldn't shut the hell up. Uh, I don't think I should be part of it anymore. I probably shouldn't have left the way I did. It wasn't mature, professional of me, but I think it's time for me to move on. I really do.
How old is this guy?
Late 30s, early 40s.
Mm,
I really
okay.
do appreciate you having me be a part of the show at this time. I just think it's not right for either of our brands for us to go forward with it. Best of luck moving forward, though. Truly, Blake Fisher. And then
Hmm.
there's another one, but I want to take this off the screen before I share an email address by accident. Last week, I did an article or story about a conservative um, talking head who had
Mm-hmm.
a career in porn before he became a
Oh.
Bible thumping conservative, and we
Hmm.
talked about that. And to search the for the video where he's explaining himself and trying to say it's the liberals' fault for making him drop
Mm-hmm.
his pants in front of a camera, there were of course all kinds of other photos that came up in the search. Now I didn't put that screen on screen. I put the click. I right clicked on the one that I was going to show the video of him doing this interview and put that on screen. Well, later I inadvertently clicked on the search,
Oh
and
dear.
there was
Yeah.
male body parts uh, on the, for like a second, and of course Ken, being the super fan that he
Oh.
is, was there for that part. He missed part of the blow up on Friday because of work, but uh, he was there for that part. Um,
Oh dear.
uh, I don't know what the sauce is, but um, anyway, so
Yeah.
here is the other one. I think no, it's still that one. Okay, well, I know what I have to
Yeah.
do. I just have to go back to that. I think this is the right one now because I closed the other one. Yes. Okay. So he's writing this one. I'm getting this about 6 p.m. my time. He's writing this one
Mm-hmm.
with the understanding or the belief that I did not get the first one. So he says, "Hey, I think it's time for me to step away from up the middle. This is our second such on-air blow up, excuse me, and I don't think it's good for either of our brands. as stated previously, I'm pulling down your show. When I first read that, I thought that he was posting my show somewhere and he's like removing it from his site or something. But now I realize in reading it, having read it a couple times since, I realize he's talking about this is the fans. This is the fans' opinion that he's not good or whatever. And so
Oh.
he's pulling down the show that way, as performance level. And I don't want to do that. Beyond that, I'm just not going to sit by and be muted while being insulted.
Mm.
We addressed that.
Mm-hmm.
If I could have spoke, yeah. However, I've been considering stepping away since our first blow up, not just because of the fight, but the things you said, if true, are negatively affecting your show for sure, and I don't want to drag you down. On top of that, I'm now trying to do 4 short YouTube videos a week, plus a full podcast, and truly need to take the rest of the year to focus on my show and guesting on other shows to grow mine. Okay, so if that's true, then by all means, I wish him the best. Wish him the best,
Mm-hmm.
and wish him the best of luck because you're going to need some of that too. I do this for
Mm-hmm.
2 hours a day, 5 days a week. He does on air 1 hour. As far as his own show, his weekly episode
Mm-hmm.
is maybe an hour plus 3 other shorts. Well, those usually come from the longer episode. That's the easiest way to do it. If you or I, say something magical and intelligent, the AI picks that up, and that's where the short comes from. But I think he might be trying to create individual, unique shorts aside from his episode, which is fine too.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed doing the show and appreciate you having me be a part of it. It's something I've consistently looked forward to and has been really great
Mm-hmm.
gym like practice for me and has made me better, I think. Yeah. Well, yeah. Ken actually held a timer to each of us one week. And out of 2 hours, I forget what he said. I think it was something like 60 or 70% of the time was just Blake. I'm like,
Mm.
that's a lot. When there's 3 of us and it should be around 30 or 40,
Yeah.
50 is a little heavy. And it is where he said, but I think it's run its course. I shouldn't have bailed mid-show like I did. It wasn't mature professional, so I apologize for that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the rest of the show would have been great either. I was upset, but it was lame of me. But I realized after I bailed that the positives aren't outweighing the negatives for me anymore. I also tried to auto send an email right after the show ended, but my stupid mail app didn't ever send it. Didn't mean to leave you hanging all day. So I think it's the 1 o'clock email that he's talking about.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
I
Yeah.
wish you know.
Because he's repeated himself in
Yeah.
this one, so he didn't think the first one sent or that you received it.
So I wish you well, really. No hard feelings. It's just time. Again, thanks for including me.
Yeah,
So
sounds good.
I mean,
Sounds good. Now, what was the benefit for you
um,
that you will lose having lost his participation?
I don't have to. I wasn't really thinking about it yet, but he saved me the trouble of replacing him. And I don't want to say like I would have fired him. It's not like it's a big network job where he's in a multi-million-dollar contract.
No,
But
no.
he's hogging the mic, and
What did he bring to
he's
the show?
a
for
smart
you?
guy. He's no dummy, and he is a political junkie. He doesn't have that. That's not his educational background. Like I have a political science and history degree. That doesn't make me smarter than him or more up to date on current events. And that's what the strength that he brought was that he keeps up to date on some of the most minuscule things. I don't do that. And that's why I wanted to talk during the course of the week to the show so
Yeah.
that everybody
Yeah.
can do whatever research they feel would be necessary, plus provide me with that so I can put it in the show notes. That never happened.
Mhm.
On plenty of
Mm.
occasions, he would say something and cite something and say, "Yeah, I'll send this to you, after the show or whatever." Matt would send it to me in the chat.
Right.
The private chat would pop up, and there's a link.
Mhm.
And if we look at that link, if it's a Twitter video or something, I put that into the show notes right away. I got plenty of time to do it because I know Blake will be talking.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
so that was
Well,
anger
hey.
number one.
Okay, yeah, well, let's get to the theme
Yeah.
here. What are you kind of angry about? What are you a little bit angry
Well,
about?
this wasn't me. I was angry when I saw the video, but this isn't me. This is, it's up here. Entire screen. There he is. Share that. Oh, that's not it there. That's Randy Slovacek from the Randy Report. That is now part of our Mastiff Media magazine. He is a journalist in the LGBT community and does a weekly audio report. That's a part of his podcast, and we now include that in Mastiff Media Magazine, our hour-long news show. So, just coming over here, though.
You've probably all seen the video by...
All right. So this is also apparently a news. Yeah, this is Fox 4. Okay. So down here, actually on the other side of the bridge in Punta Gorda, there was a kid fishing. And apparently his buddy did something to piss off this fishing captain earlier in the week or in the week prior, something like that. And as many fishermen do, this kid, minor, maybe of age, 18 something, definitely young, you can hear it in his voice, is wearing a GoPro. That's a camera that you can wear on your body somewhere. You put on like the front of your jet ski or your bike, or he's got it on his chest, almost like a body camera a police officer wears.
Sounds like it, yeah.
For purposes of capturing the moment that he reels in a fish.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly beneficial if it's just him. And, a buddy can't do it for him. So he's got this thing rolling when this boat captain brings his boat alongside his and is cussing him out. And I know this is on a newscast, so I'm guessing that it's going to be muted. I mean, we actually don't have any AM/FM stations right now, so that's okay. But for our own professional levels, I'm guessing it's going to be muted when he drops the F-bomb. But this captain comes on this other kid's boat.
Oh.
I mean, that's pretty much piracy when you're making threats like that and you come on somebody else's boat without their permission, especially in that type of manner. Well, the GoPro video that this kid's wearing gets shared on Facebook, gets thousands and thousands of shares.
Oh.
Just sharing it, and millions of views.
Oh.
To a point where the police get a hold of it, as does the Fish and Wildlife Commission, like the state police for boating and hunting, and the Coast Guard. They're all looking into this, and the police have arrested him already. So tell me if this guy could have done things differently.
By now, it shows the altercation between Charter Captain Brock Horner and a young fisherman while out on the river here in Punta Gorda. But I want to tell you about the fallout from that. I'm Fox 4 Charlotte County community correspondent Alex Orenchuk, and this video has gone viral with millions of views and thousands of comments calling for Horner to be punished. So I spoke with an attorney about what legal consequences Horner could face. The boat rage video shows the argument between the fishermen on the water, and you can hear Horner yelling throughout it. Then you see him get on the other boat. After the video was posted to Facebook, authorities like the Punta Gorda Police Department started getting calls to investigate and charge Horner for his behavior. But attorney Spencer Cordell says it's not that easy.
Obviously, the behavior in the video is pretty egregious. It's pretty shocking. But sometimes being really rude or even saying things or doing things that are shocking don't necessarily rise to the level of criminal activity.
Cordell says in his opinion, Horner doesn't commit a crime until he boards the other fisherman's boat, which he says is trespassing.
If they do decide to charge a trespassing charge, it is a misdemeanor, which is a criminal offense. It's not as serious as a felony, but it is the kind of thing he could potentially be facing jail time for.
Now, the Punta Gorda Police Department, FWC, and the Coast Guard have all stated that they're investigating what happened, but the repercussions for Horner outside of the legal system have been serious. On Thursday, his attorney, Scott Weinberg, released a statement that says, in part, first and foremost, Brock sincerely apologizes. What began as a moment of frustration escalated in a way it simply should not have. Since the video went viral, Brock's business has been destroyed, his reputation damaged, and his family, including his wife and mother, have been harassed and even threatened. Weinberg also noted that Horner is a veteran who suffered a traumatic brain injury in combat. But the fallout from this incident stretches beyond just here in Punta Gorda and all the way down to the Everglades, where another charter captain with a similar name has also been the target of hateful messages written by people who think he's Horner.
You know, I did have to send the wife out of town yesterday. She was really, really squirrely.
That's Captain Brock Wagner. He's the charter boat captain who got swept up in the online reaction and started getting hate messages from people thinking he was Horner.
I think people were just, trying to reach out and yell at someone. So they decided to reach out and yell at me.
He says some of the confusion has cleared up now, and it's partly thanks to strangers on the internet.
The fishing community has really just stepped up in an amazing fashion. I mean, I've got, there's just this huge effort by people that I don't know, really trying to set the record straight. It's heartfelt. It's, I'm just in awe.
Again, the Punta Gorda Police Department, FWC, and the Coast Guard are still investigating exactly what happened. In Punta Gorda, Alex Orenchuk, Fox 4.
I would say so. I had to step away. I had to step away because the puppy had to get outside. Did it show him boarding the boat?
Mm-mm.
No. It didn't show the actual. You kidding me? I think I might have it here though. Okay, here it is. Glenn's gonna miss his show later today. This is it here. Okay, and
you know what?
Me!
Motherfucking
Me too!
oh yeah, well, so this
There
one
we
is-
go.
Dude, bro! I'm out here all the time, bro.
I'm 300 days a year on the motherfucking water.
All right,
Every
bro.
day, I'm the best charter captain you'll ever meet in your motherfucking life.
All right, bro.
Cuss me out.
Chill, bro. Chill, bro. Please, bro.
Don't hit the fucking fire.
Please, okay, please, bro. Please, bro. Please, bro. Bro, I'm a kid, bro. Please.
Apologize.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
You're gonna cuss me the fuck out.
All right, bro.
In the middle of the
No, bro. Please, bro. Please,
Take me back to
bro.
my boat.
Okay. Please.
Fucking apologize.
I'm sorry, bro. That was not me, bro.
Yes, it was.
I know I
motherfucker.
was here, but my buddy was
Take
on the
me
boat.
back to my
Yes,
fucking
sir.
boat.
I'm a kid, bro. Please,
I
bro.
don't care. You don't cuss me
Yes,
the fuck
sir.
out.
All
and
right.
talk shit to me, motherfucker.
Yes, sir.
Marawelli has taken an
Oh,
So there you go.
You can possibly fathom.
I'm interested now in the next video because I heard that's a hockey game, and you heard Marawelli. He is a former NHL referee, so apparently there's like a fight or a bench clearing or something like that. But I'll watch that after the show, of course. More anger. So there you go.
eternity in the middle part of the second period to make.
Oh, there it is. How do I get rid of these? I need a producer. There we go. So yeah, unmuted or unedited the moment from when he came up alongside this kid's boat and boarded his boat without permission. You know, blatantly illegal.
Well, how did that incident end?
So he gets back
I mean-
off. You hear him. That's the first time I heard that, and I wondered, I heard the engine rev. So did they separate?
Yeah.
Did they? But he's on this kid's boat. So I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. How's he going to get back to his own boat? And what happened with the 4 guys that were sitting there with their thumb up their ass? Nobody said, hey, dude, it's not a big deal. We're fine. And I've seen some people say they shouldn't have to say that, and that they sat there and did nothing is okay. I don't know. Maybe just because I have a 23-year career in law enforcement, not sitting on my ass with a thumb inserted up it or whatever. I would be a little bit more active. I actually was. Did I tell you about this? I'm getting on a tangent now, I know, but anyway.
Go ahead. Go for it.
So that you hear him say, take me back to my boat. And obviously that happens there.
Oh, okay.
But this video gets reviewed by the kid later, and he sees that he's got the whole thing from him coming up to his boat to the moment they go back. And I'm sure he's got more than that. They just, cut it at the exciting part, the end of the exciting part. Mom and Dad were visiting. They left about 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. And they were visiting for about almost 3 weeks. It's kind of sort of towards the end of their visit, because we're at the one car show. We were at the end of the one car show. We were getting gas. Dad is in a Turkey Hill. Like anytime I pass a Dunkin' Donuts, we stop for coffee. Anytime Dad passes not a Turkey Hill, a Wawa. He says he's on the board of Wawa. We're at a Wawa. I'm getting gas, and he's inside getting coffees and sodas and whatever. And there's this Tesla. Who figured? There's this Tesla illegally parked in a handicap spot.
Okay.
So police car's coming through. He sees this. He pulls up behind it. He's just sitting there, waiting to see who comes out. And this guy, showing no signs of handicap, comes out with a female, presumably his girlfriend or wife, I don't know. And they get in the car and try to drive away. Meanwhile, this police officer's on the air horn in the loudspeaker, stop your car. And he's about to back up into the police car when he turns the wheel to the left and starts to go through other parking spots to get away. So the cop pulls forward, blocking him in. So this guy puts it in reverse, backs around the police car, and comes straight towards me at the gas pump. He stops in front of the gas pump, backed up to the edge of the gas pump, and the cop backs up again and blocks him in. Now he gets out of the car, and he's pissed. I stop pumping gas and go up to the right rear passenger door and open it and say, "Federal agent, put your hands on the steering wheel." That guy almost shit his pants. He wasn't expecting that. By that point, he tries to run from me. I'm in flip-flops. I ain't going anywhere. But so is he. And by this point, the cop's up on his door. He gets out and he starts to run, and the cop grabs him. He trips in his flip-flops. His gym shorts or his sweatpants go halfway down his ass. He trips over that, and he goes down on the ground. The cop's on top of him. I yelled something, and the thing I thought, like, whoa, wait a minute, this guy's got it. He's also a professional.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you're retired now.
I wondered when we were getting to that part. Okay,
Mom was
go
not
ahead.
happy. She was like shaken up and teary eyed. She was still in the van. She said, "What if he had a gun?"
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah.
Oops.
And I mean, I dealt with that every day. What if they had a gun? The intelligence community
Mhm.
has a saying: "You don't know what you don't know,"
Mhm.
and that's why you continue to learn and you continue to investigate or
Mhm.
evaluate intelligence. What's Joseph saying? Federal agent, I'm condemning this Tesla. Commandeering.
Commandeering. I think he wants
Yeah,
to say I'm in
yeah.
commandeering.
Or maybe
He's taking the
maybe
Tesla.
it's a southern accent. Commandeering. I don't even know. Is it spelled right? I've never used that word.
No. Command. It's command and then
Okay.
EER. Commandeer. ING. Commandeering. But he was just saving some letters.
With that,
I got it.
I would use C's. It's a lot easier to spell. But yeah, commandeer. I would say condemning actually, but that's another political issue.
I think Joseph wants you to take the Tesla.
Yeah. Get it off the highway. So that was
There you go.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So what was Dad's
He was
reaction?
getting coffee. He didn't know what happened. He comes out.
But certainly your mother shared.
She was teary-eyed, and I felt bad because the way we had the van set up, my middle and back seats. When we were playing that last video, I get up and let the puppy outside. She always brings like a stick, and she chews it billions of pieces all over the carpet, and it's a bit.
Oh,
they get the carpet. Oh,
but she's happy.
Yeah. Matrix is barking, so she's got to go check that out. Oh, 26 minutes.
There's no rest. No. The fun never stops. That's the way I describe it. So, anyway, so you had a very exciting moment there. And this all plays into the whole anger thing of this theme of this show.
Yeah,
Is that it?
What reacted?
Are you in this? In this show, are you gathering examples of how things are getting out of hand?
Yeah, I guess
are you seeing? Is that what you want to?
Is that what you want us to? I just saw the commonality of Blake and me on Friday, this fishing captain, and during the course of our own conversation, it came to mind that issue of the me playing superhero for a day. But yeah, I mean, so many of the comments that I read of that fishing captain, they all said, that's why we're glad Florida has the stand your ground law. So many people would have shot this guy. And I can't help but wonder, well, there she is, chewing away. I can't help but wonder if they would have been legally allowed to do that. One of the things I learned is that most states consider your vehicle an extension of your home, which means you can
and it is
there.
To us.
Well, is the boat also one of those vehicles? And then, what is the age of that kid? He probably might not have been old enough to carry a gun. But if he was, what if that was his dad's boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, so many different things, but yeah, a lot of people said they would have dropped him in a heartbeat. And sometimes
Wow.
that immediate. And when you're,
Wow.
it's one thing that kid tried to get away too, but you heard the motor.
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He was obviously, trying to settle things down a little bit,
and
as
even
best he
with the
could.
stand your ground law, I would say some opportunity or effort to evacuate as a civilian should always be. I mean, that was the thing we would do as Secret Service agents. We're allowed to shoot back, but that's not the job
Hmm.
of the working shift. It's their job to cover the president and evacuate him and get him out.
Hmm.
It's the SWAT team that travels with him. They're the ones that deflect the attention on them, so we have better time evacuating the president. Anyway, it you don't know today. I never had an issue with window
Hmm.
tint until I became a police officer. And the first time I had a traffic stop in the middle of the night, and I could not see anything inside that car until the compliant driver rolled down the window and let me let me talk to him. Ken says no, don't take the Tesla. By the way, did you know that Trump doesn't pronounce Tesla as Tesla, but as Tesla? Yeah, I'm not surprised. And here's the irony, not to get off the anger topic, we'll get back to that right away. But the whole Republican effort and MAGA effort to repeal the electric battery or electric car mandate, we're going back to gas cars. Isn't one of your best buddies the owner of Tesla, the electric car company? Wouldn't you think he'd be pushing that a little bit?
Wouldn't we
This
think
administration
so?
doesn't know what they
Yeah.
want.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean,
So April the 5th was marches all over the place, or not marches, or gatherings or protests and so forth. I haven't really paid much attention over the weekend to any news. I've been busy doing all sorts of other things, but
I
you
didn't
know,
forward this.
I haven't seen anything that was capital A
No,
anger.
no,
It seemed to me
it was.
pretty
In
peaceful.
fact, I was there. Let's see if I can get one here. I don't know if if I'm gonna be able to send this, if it's too big. I wanted to talk about that today too. I forgot to. Let me see something here. I'm going to try to text it to myself through Facebook, or because it's on the server there, it might be able to make it.
Share it
We'll
that
play
way.
my
Yeah.
live from Newport Richie. Oh, okay. Send. See if it sends.
So we've got a cold, wet spring going on.
It's about to get worse, isn't
here.
it?
Yes, it is. For the next couple of days, it's going to be kind of mean. But the Magnolias, they have been having a grand time over this past week. It's
Is
been
there
glorious.
anything that buds like that now is at risk of being lost for the season because of another frost or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. Magnolias have had a great season this year. I mean, but they're liable to face their end in the next day or so because the temperature's dropping. And some years we don't get a show at all. There are bunch of flowering shrub and trees that, take a
All
risk
right,
every
well,
year.
let's see.
We're in Pasco.
Oh, there it is. Jurg's on the scene.
Okay. Yay. Let's see it.
I gotta place to the entire screen. There it is. Okay.
There he is.
I got my. Do you know what that is?
No.
That is the tip of a Sherwin-Williams paint stirrer. Because my
Okay.
microphone that works in with my camera is this little thing that you clip to your shirt.
Okay.
In the event that I wanted to talk to
Oh,
someone,
so you clipped it to the paint thing. Oh, how
yeah,
clever.
I
Aren't you clever?
did. And so I did that because I don't think if I were like to interview somebody, they're not going to want my hand in their
Oh,
face.
that's funny. Yeah. I
All
love
right, so
that.
here's
Look how
2
professional
minutes of
you
me
look.
giving analysis of trying to make this group look a little bigger than what it probably was.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in Pasco County on Little Road at Government and Citizens at the 2 intersections of the traffic lights behind me. This is part of the Hands Off rally on Saturday the 5th. It doesn't look like there's a lot of people, but the trees behind me are hiding a large group of people on the other side of them. So the rally goes for about 3 blocks, and in parts on both sides of Little Boulevard, or rather Little Road in Pasco County. The thing that I've noticed here from what we've seen at Trump rallies, these people actually know what they're talking about. They know what the issues are. They know details from each of the issues, and they're able and capable of arguing the issues and presenting a clear point and an intelligent point. It's not just Trump's the best.
Mm-hmm.
There's actual articulated reasons behind their dislike for not only Donald Trump, but of course also Elon Musk and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. You guys know my story with him, how he stood in my driveway after Helene and said that help was on the way. That was the last I heard from the state of Florida. So it makes sense. These people are pissed off too. And there's a bunch of different issues, from the cancer research to veterans benefits, Medicare, Medicaid for the state, the right to clean water at the state.
One of the Trumpers that was trying to downplay the rallies on Saturday was that he was saying these people don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're protesting for. I'm like, no, there's just that much wrong with this administration this early in it, less than 100 days in.
Mm-hmm.
State level, anything, the cancer, I mentioned the cancer research, and I'm brain farting on some of the others, but as I walk up this sidewalk, there's no sign that's repeated within 10 feet. There's so many different things these people are talking about that I've seen and have reported on in the government issues that Doge has particularly messed up.
And
so we're in Pasco County on Little Road at Government.
And we cut
go.
Video.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the obvious, there's a lot going on. It's a lot messed up.
Yeah. And
so I don't, who knows where we go from here? I don't know if the protests will make a difference in 2026. I don't know if there's a way out of all this. I really don't.
My concern is that the memory. We had January 6th, and you and I sat here with David Beckmeyer thinking that would have been the low point and the reason for the country to want to get help. That didn't happen.
Right.
How much longer does it got to go? And my concern is that I fear that voters will not have the necessary memory.
Okay.
to
Yeah,
last.
I agree. I agree. I agree. It's like the frog in the
Boiling
pot of
frog.
water. You know,
Yeah.
we just get used to it and move on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, meanwhile we're dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's it. You know, will we see, for as much as a president or a Congress or a Fed does have control over an economy, they're also very cyclical.
Mhm.
What comes around, goes around. And for as much as this is on a way down, it's eventually something's going to happen where eventually it's going to come back up. To what? Nobody knows, but it's going to come back up. And my fear is that upward swing that's cyclical, just part of the cycle. I think that's a word.
Yes.
Because I heard it somewhere else, so I stole it. Happens in like August of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And people think that it's Trump's doing. And he was right all along. We just needed this tough period.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they're trying to sell. And that's why he can go play golf on the weekend, because he's just waiting for the news cycle to be done with all this stuff. And then if something else negative happens, he'll find something else to make the news so that we forget. Yeah. Sadly,
Yeah.
that's the way it is. Yep.
So what's happening in the studio?
What's happening in the studio?
Philadelphia Avenue.
Selling some art, holding some workshops, having parties. We had a bachelorette party over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it
We had
one
a
of those?
bachelorette party. Go ahead.
Did they actually sit and paint, or is it
Yes.
just were they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We have.
Nice.
Yeah. It's really cool, you know. And I think before they came to Studio B, they were at Taylor Backus, creating lovely pieces of glass art.
Oh.
And then they came to Studio B to do some more art. And it was a lovely time. And then I had someone reach out to me earlier over the weekend, I guess, or toward the end of last week, to say, hey, do you have any of a particular artist's work available? And so I reached out to the artist and said, bring some in. This guy wants to buy some. So the guy came and bought 2 pieces of art from this particular artist. And I feel really good about all that.
That's awesome.
Of course, yeah. And of course, my volunteers are continuing to work on several projects relative to the Bear Fever Project, trying to gather material and update the website, and also gather material to create a booklet of she's focusing, the woman in charge here is focusing on the bears that exist in Boyertown proper. So things are moving along in that way, and I'm really happy about that. Meanwhile, I have challenged my writing friends, my lovers of language, shall we say, because this is National Poetry Month. April is National Poetry Month every year, at least for the present time, unless it gets canceled.
Yeah, it probably already was.
Anyway, so my writers are sending in poetry. Not necessarily of poetry that they have written, but just some of their favorite poetry. Oh, and you'll love this. I had on my the Boyertown Area Expression, the digital news site that I helped to edit, I had a poem that my daughter wrote in high school.
Wow.
Featured on today's Boyertown Expression. And I'm going to just I have to read it to you.
I didn't open that yet, so I didn't see that.
I have to just read it to you. Let me just find it. It'll take just a second.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
Just a second. Here we go. And I found the I found the poem while I was looking for, something else, I suppose. But I also had found the a photograph in which both of my children were featured when they were young. I think Jeff probably was 4 and Amy probably was 6, something like that. It's just too cute. Yeah, I know you can't see it, but Anyway, here's the poem by my daughter.
Right.
And it's dedicated to her brother, to my brother. So young you were. I remember. You couldn't reach it. Mommy said it was okay to lay it on the floor. But now you're as tall as me, and I still get my socks wet from your damp towels on the bathroom tiles. Isn't that cute? I still get my socks wet from your damp towels on the bathroom tiles. And at the bottom of it, she has Boyertown Area Senior High School, grade 12, Leslie Misco, English teacher. I always loved that poem. I thought it was so cute. Her brother isn't quite as fond of it, but but doesn't it say so much in 40 some words, something like that, about
Sibling rivalry, yeah.
relationships and siblings and habits and criticism and tolerance, all kinds of things it talks about. I think it's a charming poem.
Are
Pardon me?
they still living in the same building?
Yes. Well,
Good.
yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they're, we were all together, including cousin Andy, last week for Survivor Night, or actually last weekend when we watched 3 episodes of Survivor. So,
Is
everybody
right
gets
now?
along for the most part. Pardon me?
Is that on right now?
Yes, there's a new season of Survivor, but we only watch it when all of us can get together. And so sometimes we're 2 or 3 episodes behind, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, if you need it to catch up, Sportcat does a Monday night. I think it's Monday, because isn't the episode usually on Sunday?
No, the episode airs on Wednesday evenings.
Well, then maybe it's Thursday. He does a show for Survivor, and as the owner of the station that he does it on, you would think I know when that airs, but maybe it's Thursdays then that he does the show, because Wednesdays is Paranormal Guys. Unless it is, I don't know. I'll have to ask him. He supposedly is coming. He's in Knoxville right now, house sitting his mom and aunt who are older and in need of care.
Gotcha.
And he was going to be coming back this Saturday to Atlanta. And he messaged me as we were going live today that he can't do his show today because they're moving his aunt into, I think he said, intensive
assisted
care.
living. Oh,
I don't know if it's that, because she was ill.
Oh,
I think it might be something, more hospitalized.
okay.
But we're going to be doing Mastiff Media Magazine for 4 hours today.
Oh my.
But that's just replays, fortunately. What I'll do is probably create a second playlist so I can edit the first one while the second one's playing, and vice versa.
There you go. Wow. Yeah. You don't sit still much, do you? Meanwhile, Joe's going to send me a poem. He has Too Much Iraq War Poetry. Good enough. Joseph, if you do that, please include a sentence or two. First of all, about yourself, a little biographical piece, but maybe something about the poem, what triggered it. Maybe that's obvious to you, but allow us to know what goes on inside your head. And what maybe you have in mind for us to understand that maybe we don't. So, the poem should stand for itself, stand by itself. I recognize that, but I always like to know what's going on in people's head. It's called metacognition, thinking about thinking. So, anyway,
I always tell people to reach out to you through Studio B, but then I say you can get a hold of all of us by sending it to news@yergs.com.
And the Yergs will see that I get it. Yep. That's great, Joseph. And anyone else on these private chats, if you're interested in participating in our series for National Poetry Month, please send poems that you like or poems that you have written yourself, along with some biographical information and maybe a sentence or two about the piece, what it means to you, something like that. Okay? That'd be great. I'd love to increase our audience.
Looking through the other plugs, apparently I removed Blake already. Matt, who is a part of, and now back to being a part of Mastiff Media Magazine with the Daily Crypto News, is the host of the Daily Crypto News every day. Find out more at dailycryptonews.net. You can reach him, Matt, at dailycryptonews.net, and info@deemerforcongress.com. Philip Blackett will be with me on Wednesday. You can reach him through his socials at Philip Blackett, Philip with one L, Blackett with two T's. And here it is, the Boyertown Area Expression. Bookmark that so you can see your work after Jane bleeds on it and does whatever she's got to do. BoyertownAreaExpression.com, or excuse me, BoyertownAreaExpression.town.news. And there, news is spelled properly, not with a Z.
Right.
Check out studiobbb.org, studio3bs.org. That's the art gallery on the main street of our town back in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. I can probably get rid of this one. I've been plugging this. We started on, I didn't tell you that because it was last week. We are now on our very first subscription service that you can find up the middle. DNRstudios.com.
Oh, Amy needs to know about that. Yeah. That'll make it easy for her to find, huh?
It's like $5 or $10 a month because there's recipes, there's travel information, there's like 8 or 10 other shows. We are the only political show on DNR Studios.
Okay.
So check it out at dnrstudios.com and get the DNR Cast. It's their app that works on the phone. I did test the phone numbers, by the way. The whatever the sync problem is on the app, I have no idea what it means, but both phone numbers work. We'll get to hopefully taking calls tomorrow. Call your senator. Call your congressman. 202-224-3121. That's the Capitol switchboard. Tell them Doge got a Goge. And I think that's
Doge got a Goge. I like that. And it's time, speaking of going, it's time for us to go.
It is.
So once again, thanks for participating in our private chats. I love that we have some feedback now and then. And I'm Jane Stahl.
And I'm Yergs.
And this has been Both Sides Now.
All right. We'll see you. Well, you'll see me tomorrow. We'll see Jane next week. And you'll also see me right after this. We're going to have brain farting. We're going to have Mastiff Media Magazine for 4 hours in place of Sportcat's Daily Gazette. He's got a family emergency, so it's news is news. So we'll have that, and I'll have 2 playlists ready that will be going back and forth. Have a great week. I will see you in a week. And, obviously, I got some work to do.
Okay. Take care, buddy.
Bye, everybody. News is next. We'll be right back.